AIDS Healthcare Foundation, AHF, Nigeria has raised alarm over the rising number of HIV infections among young women, revealing that about 4,000 girls aged 15 to 24 contract the virus each week. According to the foundation, over 3,300 of these weekly infections occur in sub-Saharan Africa, exposing a troubling gender gap in global HIV statistics. In 2023 alone, 1.9 million adolescent girls and young women were living with HIV compared to 1.2 million young men. AHF identified lack of education, gender-based violence, child marriage, and inadequate sexual health education as major drivers of the crisis. Over 133 million girls remain out of school globally, further heightening their vulnerability. The organization is calling for increased investment in HIV and STI prevention, testing, and treatment, alongside stronger interventions addressing period poverty and reproductive health access. To mark the 2025 International Day of the Girl Child, Nigeria will host an educational event in Akwa Ibom featuring menstrual hygiene awareness, leadership sessions, and free sanitary pad distribution. When you look at this report, almost 4,000 girls
and it's alarming,
infected with the virus every week. What are your thoughts on this report?
You know, the interesting part, or let me say, the interesting part is that they think that they show for face.
Exactly.
So it's so subtle that someone might have it and may not know.
And not know for a long time. Right.
You know, I don't want to say it, I don't want to classify it as only the women on the women part. I want to go general now. Okay. So what I would say on this is it calls for heightened level of carefulness in terms of promiscuity. Because nowadays you don't know who carry out. Exactly. So, to those who are out there who see it as a challenge to have the multiple sex partners, you've heard the report, so it boils in your court.
Now, do you think that the vast of this number comes from, sexual relationships?
Well,
I mean, when you look at it, given that, we still have people that get to cut their hair now and again. And oftentimes you just see I don't know how effective it is because I don't cut my hair, but oftentimes you see they are putting on some form of lighter on the clipper, and so all of a sudden is well sterilized enough to cut off, to do the haircuts. You see have ladies all the time going to make their nails and telling people are not well abreast or informed that it would be better to go with your own cuticle remover, your own setup of stuff. Yeah. They go there and they share the one for public. But giving all of this into perspective, do you think people are well informed enough to know that this crisis is still looming and is still, in and around us?
Informed, but I wouldn't say well informed.
Okay.
It's wanting to know something, it's wanting to act upon it.
Okay.
So to an extent, people are well informed, but they probably they're not consistent in keeping to that information they've heard. Okay. So maybe if you attend a seminar or people come to your street and do a public sensitization about not sharing blades and not be more careful, and then for a week some persons keep to that instruction. After a week you find out that they relax it. After all, they think they kill African man. Yes, so it calls for consistency in understanding that HIV is not only transmitted through sex, or it's through sex, even though it has a major doorway to it. But we have our cutleries, when you go out there, you should be careful. So if she use this on Miss A, before she uses it on you, if she must use it on you, maybe don't have yours, ensure she sterilizes it properly. Not only fire or that. I'm cautious about that.
Do you think these practitioners that carry out this public service, they have the tools to sterilize? Their tools enough? Do you think they do have access to those tools? Do you think they are informed of, well informed about, if I use, for example, this product that has so ingredients? Okay. It's going to work more effectively than using the burner on the blade?
Most of them are not informed. Most are informed, but probably the cost of the product would deter them from going.
But they're in the business for profit.
They're in the business for profit. The profit may be made at the expense of most customers. So it just calls for everyone to sit up, because if you go to a barbing salon and you find out that the person who does your hair is not as careful as you expect him or her to be, it's your responsibility to call attention to it. Hey, see, okay, you've used this, but you should just use fire. No. Wash that thing again. Let me see your what detergents you use. You still use this one. No. If you have to get this, if you don't get, I'm not come back here again. So you have to be meticulous about it, because you never can tell. And like I started, it's so subtle that you just can't know if someone has contacted. Right. That's why these things are the 4,000 is still rising, because so you just focus for first of all sexual abstinence or protection should be heightened by every individual. Because antiretroviral drugs will only keep you longer, keep you alive. It doesn't entirely cure. Even though I know there are medical adventures that are heading towards looking for drugs that will cure HIV and AIDS, but before that success has been made, the effect cannot be taken out of history. So it calls for everyone to be careful, to be intentional about whom you share your things with. That one is very important, because, like I said, it's so subtle. So that these numbers, and the young girl, I love the fact that there are sensitization is going on. So I deliberately didn't want to say only women on part, because it's a general something. So it's just cause for everybody to be intentional, so that these numbers will not continue skyrocketing.
How do we make this more public, this information? Now, when you look at, I remember when I was growing up, there was, there are usually lots of campaigns on several things that, I mean, off my head, I can easily point out to. Number one, in the university, for example, drug kills, stay away from drugs was on the banner everywhere. Once I got into, as a new student, year one student in the university, I saw all of those banners a lot, right? Don't join the Cultism Act and all of that. It was all over, and people were well informed. Other than that, Smokers Are Liable to Die Young was another one that was quite popular. When you go through the Roots Mass or Benson and Hedges whole ad, then and that beautiful song that is now permanently associated to it. After the advert and all, you hear the same warning to know that if you get to use this. Do you think that the NOA, right, is doing enough with information and sensitization of Nigerians, especially on things like this? Drug is getting on the rise, for example. You go to the universities, I don't think we still have as much. I did go to a university just now in River State, I think 2-3 months ago. And I didn't see any of those banners talking about the drugs and the cultism the way it used to be, because that school is also my alma mater when I, when I did my undergraduate degree. Do you think that we are doing enough as regards sensitization in Nigeria?
I think the attention is shifted from sensitization to the enforcement of punishment on these drugs. I'm not against enforcing the law against abuse. Most of them, victims of this drug abuse were not well informed. It may be peer pressure, environment. So the same way we are applying efforts into most times when I'm coming from my one. If you go to before you go to MNK, I don't know whether it's a norm. What some police officers do is that they stop buses and they see your hair looking somehow, or they see you wearing earring or anything. They will stop for one person. They will stop the whole bus and then put your hand up. Fine.
For drugs?
Yes, another things. Fine, it's okay. But before the same way we are pressuring on enforcing these laws, we should also use that same force into educating the minds of these young people, of young people, to let them know the effects and the dangers of drug abuse.
Right.
So not just enforcing the laws against drug abuse, but also sensitizing, because like I also have that one in my school. In fact, it's on Abia State University. It's on at the gate there. The drug cultism kills. So even if you want to go enter to cultism, they don't tell you say it kills. So you know what you're signing up.
Right.
So those things give some level of, it just sticks, because what the eye sees, the mind
especially
yes, man captures, and then habits is being formed. So the same pressure should be put into sensitizing communities, schools. It should be a norm. It should be a norm. Like, when I was serving at NY, my CDS was legal aid. So what we do most times is we go to schools and pick a topic and discuss with them in their morning devotions. We made it the norm. Different schools. Because if they don't hear it, they'll make the mistakes. So we keep going and keep telling them. See, don't do this. If you do this, these are the consequences. If you do this, these are the stories of people.
And that helps.
Yes, these are stories of people who have done it, and this is what came out. So it helps to caution the level of exuberance or energy that they will exert into going for that same thing. So the same pressure should be put into sensitizing, because before you enforce the law, have you intimated these persons on the adverse effect of drugs?
So one report just clicked in my head recently, just now, when we talk about this statistics, this stats tackling 4,000. Yeah. A report broke about young girls in a secondary school. SS2, one person, was being punished by her teacher, or disciplined, like we used to call it. Okay. And she started bleeding. And on search, they noticed that she had, what's it called? A contraceptive in her arm, in SS2. For her to have had a contraceptive goes to show that she's actually sexually active, right? And when research was done within that school environment, it was noted that about 33 or thereabout, 33 to 35 other girls had that same contraceptive. Now, that is a startling number for children in secondary school in SS2, probably maybe 13 to 16. That is a startling number. Do you think that when we talk about the sensitization, the focus should come from schools? Now, those girls are more concerned with, I don't want to get pregnant, as opposed to, I don't want to be infected. Right, looking at the report, what comes to mind?
It therefore, I don't want to streamline it down to just schools. Also, it's a collective effort.
Yeah, right.
Because these children go out, they mingle with their.
They're informed.
Right. So it therefore calls for the home also to be the parents at home also, or guidance, or responsible citizens. Because these days now, if you're a responsible person and then you see a child going somehow, you can call the child and talk to the child respectfully. I wouldn't love to see. I would do it. I don't want to keep at my uncle or not your uncle. I would call you and tell you, see, this doesn't make any sense. So in the schools also, and it should be. It calls for everyone to stand up,
right, collectively.
Because these days now, when I served in a place where having a child out of wedlock seems like the norm. It seems like I wrote a memoir on it. I've not published it yet, but one of the things I noted is that it seems the girls, they are eager to validate their humanhood by giving birth. Because what is the secondary school girl doing with a child? And then when they ask her, she said her sister had a child. So the sister has shown her the way, and she's following the same way.